San Francisco's vacant home tax is not a solution to the affordable housing crisis and the homelessness issue. But what is? I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's all about, the proposals that people have been putting out there about using the vacant homes out there, trying to get those vacant homes occupied to help house the homeless, help make housing more affordable, and it just will not work, okay? There's a multitude of reasons why homes are vacant, and the majority of which are not because people are purposefully keeping them empty so that they can, raise rents and build luxury housing or whatever the heck that they think that we're trying to do with them. Okay, the majority of homes are empty for a lot of really good reasons, and the article I have today is actually going over those reasons, so it's a really good explanation. I had a video just a short while ago about the new vacant home tax that was passed in San Francisco, and I was telling you just how bad it is, right, and how it's really not going to make any difference whatsoever in housing affordability or in homelessness in the city. But the politicians, they wanted to pass a feel-good measure, okay? And the people, it makes them feel good thinking that, this is going to, help something. And they're going to use that tax money to fund homelessness projects and all that, right? Well, it's not going to make any difference, okay? It's not going to raise nearly as much money as they think it will. And I'm going to tell you exactly why in just a moment once I get into this. But before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button, maybe leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think, okay? Do you think that a tax on vacant property will actually help, homelessness issue? Will it help the homelessness issue? Will it help make housing more affordable? Do you think that putting people into vacant homes will actually do that, or do you think that it's not the solution that they're looking for? Okay, I'm just curious what other people watching my videos, what they think of it. I've already told you what I think, okay, and I'll be telling you more of what I think as I go through this article. So let's get into it. This article is coming from pewtrusts.org, and it says, "The nation's vacant homes present an opportunity and a problem." And when I first read the article, when I first started reading it, I thought, this is probably somebody saying that, vacant homes are the solution. And I was actually surprised that they did more than just, surface level research on the topic and discovered some hard truths that a lot of people, they need to face if they think that, filling vacant homes with homeless or, bringing down the cost of housing is actually a possibility. So let's get into it. With construction costs for new homes and interest rates soaring, vacant housing is drawing more attention as a shortcut to quickly getting more units on the market. But whether vacant homes are a curse or an opportunity depends on where you live. As housing affordability plummets and rents rise, putting more families with low incomes at risk of losing their homes, some cities are working to take advantage of unused properties. But there often is a mismatch between the location and condition of vacant homes and where they are most needed. Those in Appalachia might be run down and in no shape for rehabilitation. Vacant homes in luxurious locales from New Orleans to New England are the second homes of the nation's elite. Yeah, and those are two good examples right there of where a lot of these vacant homes that they claim are out there, what they're actually being used for. Okay, they're second homes to more wealthy people who might happen to have two homes, or maybe you have a home over here for work or for vacation or whatever, and you're only using it part-time. That's not actually a vacant home, okay? You actually are using that. Are you using it full-time? No, but why should you have to? And the fact that the city wants to tax you for that's wrong, okay? They shouldn't want to do that sort of thing. But the point is that home is not available for the use of anyone else. You can't put a homeless person in there when the actual owner wants to use it from time to time. It's just not going to work. You can't put a tenant in there when the owner wants to use it from time to time. Oh, man. They need to figure this stuff out. And then the other point they mentioned was that a lot of the vacant homes are run down, dilapidated. They're not even livable, okay, but they still stand. And that truly is a big problem. Now, they should be trying to encourage real estate investors, landlords such as ourselves, to come in there, purchase those properties and fix them up. Some of them are beyond repair. I mean, I admit that, right? But for the ones that are not beyond repair, they should be trying to encourage us to go in there and fix them up and then make them livable so that there's more housing available. But in a lot of cases, they're not. They're actually discouraging us from doing that. Oh, man. I mean, this is a deep issue. And Americans living in motels, in their cars, or on the streets often aren't in the same states or even the same time zones as the vacant houses that could be repaired and offered as shelter. Yeah, and I'm not going to go much further than that because I want to kind of cover that issue as well, okay? Now, if you got a whole bunch of homeless people in California, but you got a whole bunch of vacant homes here in the Midwest, I mean, obviously, that's not going to work out. You just can't ship the people back here to the Midwest to live in vacant homes, So, I mean, that's a big issue right there. There's not a lot of vacant homes. There's even less vacant homes in a place like California than there are in the rest of the country. In most of the country, the vacant housing issue is one of blight, and it's not entirely practical to simply give it to the homeless, said Daryl Owens, a policy analyst for California YIMBY, a Sacramento-based group advocating more market-rate housing to counteract shortages. Detroit has long-term vacant housing, but it's not logical or ethical to move people from California to Detroit and say, here's your allocated rundown house, go take it. Homes used for vacations by the wealthy, meanwhile, are a sign of extreme income inequality alongside homeless populations in places such as New Orleans. So, you know what? Everyone, if you have the money and you have the ability to purchase a second home, I have no problem with it, okay? That is your house just as much as the house you're living in is, okay? And by them saying, oh, well, this is just a sign of inequality, it's not fair that these people are buying up these houses in places like New Orleans where there's a bunch of poor people. Well, by that same measure, why not just say, well, you own a house and you have an empty bedroom, so why don't you just put somebody in your empty bedroom? Because you don't want them there, okay? You want that space for your personal use. And if I own a second home, I want that space for my personal use. So lay off of trying to attack people for owning second homes in nice locations, okay? Now, there's nothing wrong with it. It's actually very common, and I believe personally that it actually makes the city a nicer place because you have people there who aren't using, city services such as the schools. They're not using, a lot of the city services like the roads, etc., but they're still paying full city taxes that help support and maintain those things for the people who do live there full time. So it is a benefit. Not only that, but those people maintain those homes, keep them in good shape, whereas the people who, are complaining, they most likely wouldn't have been able to afford to keep those properties in good shape and, keep them well maintained. So, I mean, there are a lot of good benefits for having people who own second homes within a city, and it should be a natural part of every city, okay, where some people who don't live there full time own second homes there. I walk through my neighborhood and see a ton of houses that are just owned by wealthy people from out of state. The Pied-Terres. Don't know what that means. These residents come in and use them once a year for Mardi Gras, said Nathan Robinson, a sociologist and founder of Current Affairs magazine, in a transcribed interview for the magazine in October. I have to say, that gets under my skin. It really does, especially when I see this huge homeless population, he continued. So you honestly think that, these people who own these second homes in New Orleans, right, that they would just, oh, you know what, I'm just going to give this up and the homeless can live here in my vacation. No, that's stupid, okay? If the homeless people, their issue is separate from this, and blaming the people who own second homes in the city seems pretty dumb to me, okay? And if the people, they want to use the home once a year, if they want to rent it out on Airbnb, if they want to rent it to wealthy tenants, long-term tenants, they can do all of those things because it is their property. They bought it with, their money, and they can use it as they see fit. Okay, this is the problem I have with a lot of these people is in order to do the things that they want to do, it would essentially require the government to take your property rights away and then force you into this system where, oh, well, now the homeless can use this, so the homeless get to live in, a popular neighborhood in a nice home in New Orleans without paying any money. And you, on the other hand, who worked your butt off in order to afford it, well, you don't get anything. You get your property taken from you by the government. Okay, so what are we talking about here? We're talking about socialism, of course, right? And that's what these people are trying to promote. That's why I say, you have to look at different solutions to the homelessness issue and different solutions to the affordable housing issue. And people owning second homes isn't that issue. So let me continue. In popular areas priced out of reach for service workers, vacant units can be key to keeping them from falling into homelessness. In Los Angeles, where new apartments can easily rent for more than $5,000 a month, vacant apartments could become a crucial lifeline for families with low incomes, said Susie Shannon, Policy Director for Housing as a Human Right, a housing advocacy division of AIDS Healthcare Foundation. See what I mean? Like, these people, they actually believe that we should give a $5,000 a month apartment to some people who can't afford to live there. Okay? That's not the way reality works. Okay? These people, if they're lower income, they need to find somewhere where they can afford. If there is nowhere within the city of Los Angeles where they can afford, they need to either go further out, they might have to move to a different city. You do not have a right to have a housing. And that's what they think. They think people have a right to housing, right? But when it comes down to it, the only way that anyone can guarantee that everyone has housing is if the government owned all the housing. That's the only way. And even then, people would be like, oh, well, I don't have the housing I want. In my opinion, right? And this is the example I've used before when I talk about all these ridiculous policies, etc., right? Well, I feel I deserve a 10,000 square foot, $6 million mansion on the beach. And I think the government should pay for it for me. I mean, why not, right? And I want to be in Malibu. Okay, put me in Malibu. No, that's ridiculous. Okay? Now, that doesn't mean that I will have no housing, right? But there's a limit and there's a point where I can afford and where I can't afford. And I know this. Everyone understands that, hey, we have to live within our own means. Now, the people who don't know that and the people who, leech off of the government, those are the people I have a problem with. And, this whole thing where they think that we can just take away people's vacant units and then give it away to the homeless, that's ridiculous, okay? It's a pipe dream and it will not work. I mean, I'll tell you what right now, if I was wealthy and they took my property away or proposed that, they're going to tax me for owning a home in a certain area like they're doing in San Francisco, I just wouldn't own a home there. I'd sell it. Okay? I would go buy a vacation home in a place where those stupid rules don't exist. So, interesting article. It's a lot longer. I'll put a link to it in the description if you want to read the whole thing. It is pretty progressive. I'll just say it like that, right? So, but, this does have implications to the way that landlords operate their businesses. Keep in mind that there's a lot of reasons why landlords would keep their properties empty as well.